Indiana has had a Cinderella run to the college football playoff. Say what you want about the schedule, the Hoosiers have been completely and utterly dominant all season long. Coach Curt Cignetti has this chip on his shoulder, and he brought over a bunch of players with that same type of mentality. Cast-offs at other programs, and Indiana was one of the more active programs at acquiring players via the transfer portal. They made major acquisitions at nearly every position, a lot of them coming from James Madison following Coach Cignetti, but one of the biggest acquisitions that Indiana made was from the University of Ohio when they brought in quarterback Kurtis Rourke. Rourke is having an amazing season and finished in the top 10 of Heisman voting, but how high will he end up being taken in the 2025 NFL Draft? That's what we will be discussing in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon, where for $5 a month, you guys will get exclusive access to my in-depth draft guide with over 500 scouting reports and my full big board. It is some of the best work I have put together, and we will be adding stats and new players to the board weekly. Leave a comment and let me know which players you guys are interested in seeing in a future episode, and without further ado, let's take a closer look at Kurtis Rourke. Rourke has been a pretty productive player throughout his collegiate career. He started at the University of Ohio, where he put up some decent numbers. In 2023, he finished the year with 2,207 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions on the year for the Bobcats. He entered the portal, and he wasn't getting a ton of attention from a lot of big programs, but Indiana was a team that showed interest in him, and he ended up committing there. Not many people thought much of the move or thought much of Indiana in general this year, but Rourke dominated in his 1 year in the Big Ten. He finished the year with 2,287 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, and all of that with a missed game in there. He finished top 10 in Heisman voting, and many people think he is an interesting sleeper in the quarterback draft class. The first thing that really sticks out when you watch Rourke is his elite size for the quarterback position. He's really tall and has a great frame to play quarterback at the next level. He is 6'5", 223 pounds, and I think he has the ideal build to be a starting quarterback. My favorite thing about Rourke is his excellent accuracy, particularly in the short to intermediate areas of the game. He was excellent on passes between 10 and 19 yards. He completed 66.3% of those throws and was really sharp and really precise, particularly when working across the middle. One of the more impressive throws he can make with regularity are back shoulder fades. He continuously would fit the ball into really tight windows and put the ball in a spot where only his receiver would be able to get it. He's accurate with the football and a very good decision maker as well. Rourke throws with great touch, but he also has really good zip, and he can thread some really tight windows and make throws that require a high degree of difficulty. He's a player who it often feels like every throw is available to him between the first 20 yards of the sticks, and he's a really smart and accurate quarterback. Rourke is also a solid athlete. He can be utilized on RPOs and play on the run. Over his career at Ohio, he showed some really nice rushing ability and the ability to make plays happen with his legs. He wasn't asked to do it as much this year for Indiana, but it is something that is in his game and something that I think he could utilize in the NFL. When it comes to concerns with Rourke, I think the arm strength is going to be one that people talk about consistently. He has a good arm, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily elite. He struggles with inaccuracy deep down the field, and I wouldn't say he has the greatest arm in the world. On throws over 20 yards, he completed just 47% of those throws, and I'd like to see that number come up. Once again, his arm is not bad, but I don't think it's very great either. I also think that pocket presence and the ability to make plays under pressure is going to be a major talking point around Rourke come draft time, and I think it's justified. His pocket presence is not amazing, and I thought when he was under pressure, he would often roll back into pressure and make poor decisions. The Ohio State game is the game where we really saw this. when he was blitzed or under a lot of pressure, he really struggled to make good decisions, and he put the ball in harm's way. He doesn't necessarily have elite escapability despite being a good athlete. I think a lot of that comes from just inconsistencies in his pocket presence, because there are times where he feels pressure well, but more often than not, I'm left wanting a little bit more. The last area of weakness with Rourke, I think his eyes are really up and down. And what I mean by that is it often feels like Rourke sits on his routes for too long. He doesn't go through all of his progressions in the way that I would like to see, and I think he needs to improve at reading the defense and making better decisions. It certainly has gotten better this season at Indiana, and it was a major concern I had with him coming into the year, but it is still an area I think he needs to improve. Kurtis Rourke is a solid college quarterback, but I don't know if he's going to be an elite NFL quarterback. We didn't even mention the fact that he's 24 years old and is a player that may slip even further down draft boards because he is an older draft prospect. With all that said, in a weaker quarterback class, I think he does some really good things that excite me. I may not take Rourke as a guy who could be a franchise quarterback or take him very high in the draft, but he could be a low-end starter or high-end backup at the next level. He is my number 7 quarterback in the draft class and my number 144 overall player. Rourke is your prototypical pocket passer. He would work best in a heavy play action offense that gives him easy, quick outlets across the middle. He is a player that I think will be a high-end backup in the NFL, and I think that his accuracy and play style make him a perfect player as a traditional pocket passer in a Shanahan type of offense. My player comparison for Kurtis Rourke is a guy who's no longer in the league, but had a very similar type of NFL career, and that is Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill was a big quarterback who was sneaky athletic, and he played more that traditional pocket passer role. He never did anything that completely wowed you or did anything off the charts, but he was overall really accurate with the football, he was reliable, and made some solid plays. When pressure broke down, you didn't necessarily feel great about him, but he was a guy that helped those Titans teams make some really solid playoff runs, and I think Kurtis Rourke at his best could be a very similar type of player to Ryan Tannehill. Kurtis Rourke is a reliable quarterback. He's smart, he reads defenses well, and makes some really nice plays with the football. I don't think he has the highest ceiling in the world, and he may not even have the highest floor in the world, but I could see him having a nice NFL career as a high-end backup type of player. He is a solid quarterback, and I believe that Kurtis Rourke will be a 4th to 5th round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.